In this video, we're going to be talking all about the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. And now that the market's dropped, how does that affect it? Coming up next. Hi everybody, my name is Dee Burks and this is Retirement Rescue, where we learn how to make money, save money, and live well in retirement. Now today we're going to be talking all about the FIRE movement. The FIRE movement means financial independence, retire early. And this is a movement that's all about people doing extra side gigs, earning extra money, and working really, really hard for a short period of time, 5 to 10 years usually, so they can retire early. In other words, be financially independent enough they don't have to have a 9-to-5 employer. When Tim Ferriss came out with the 4-hour work week, it really kind of sparked these ideas, this movement. But they're the same kinds of ideas that people like Dave Ramsey have been talking about for literally 30 years. You know, lower your debt, get rid of your debt, lower your expenses, save for retirement, be financially independent, give yourself options. That's what real retirement is all about. It's about having the option and being able to choose what it is you want to do every single day. Now, this movement has really taken hold the last 10 years. Since the last market drop, a lot of, especially younger people that are wanting to retire before 40, have gotten on board with this movement. Now, my take on it is there's nothing wrong with this movement. I mean, good grief, that's what I'm doing. Although in my case, since I'm over 50, it would probably stand for financial independence, retire eventually. But whatever. But my plan is to work really, really hard the next 5 years and put aside enough money so that it will grow enough to support me without me having to do anything else unless I choose to. Now, part of the idea of the FIRE movement is that you lower your expenses and you live very simply, something I also agree with. I'm thrilled to see so many younger people really grasping that idea, understanding that stuff is just stuff, it doesn't mean anything, and if you can live simply and not spend that money and plan for your retirement, you'll be way better off. Now, there are a couple of things about this movement that are really important to understand. Number one, you have to be willing to educate yourself. And I mean a lot. This is not something that's easy. It's not something that everyone can do. You have to get financially educated. The second part of it is you have to be really committed. You have to be willing to drive the old beat up car and, wait tables and do all the extra side gigs and put that money away. Don't spend it. You have to be really, really focused and committed. And that is difficult for a lot of people. And then, of course, you have to plan for the worst. A lot of people who have gotten on board with the FIRE movement, this last market drop is really their first big test. It's their first big test. And if you're living off your investments and you have a huge drop in the market, it's really a determining factor. Do you have to go back to work? Or have you planned ahead enough that you don't have to go back to work? There is a couple that I watch quite a bit that are really, I would think, leaders in the FIRE movement. They've done it themselves and now they teach other people to do it, but they have a YouTube channel where they talk about, and you can watch it for free, where they talk about everything they did to get where they are, how they did it, and what they're doing now that the market's had a fluctuation. Their names are Aman and Christina, and their channel is called Our Rich Journey. Now, these people are incredibly intelligent. I love how articulate they are, how committed they were to the process, just really great examples of what you can accomplish. And they weren't rich. They weren't financial advisors. They were government employees. And let me tell you what, that doesn't pay. So they did a lot of side gigs. They did a lot of jobs no one else would do. They did a lot of things other people wouldn't commit to. And they made it happen. But now that the market's dropped, they explain how they planned for that. And that's really important to understand. Whether it's you, whether it's me, anybody who's planning for retirement, planning for a worst case scenario is part of that. And it has to be part of that. What are you going to do if the market takes a big dump like it just did? Are you going to have enough cash reserves to wait it out? Are you going to have enough cash flow coming from various investments? Are you diversified enough to not have to cash out any of those assets at the bottom of the market? Because if you have to do that, again, I talk a lot about how compound interest works for you, but if you're taking money out at the bottom of a bad market, it works against you. There's a huge opportunity cost there. So when you look at the types of investments you have and what's producing income and how much you can live on, you want to be sure your living expenses are covered by money coming in where you don't have to cash out assets where it would cost you a whole lot more in the long run. That's one of the reasons that I really like real estate for people who are getting close to retirement. Having real estate that is bringing money in the form of rental, even though I know a lot of people think they don't want to deal with rentals. But in a down market, when people can't get mortgages, they're renting. And so rental income continues steady or rises. It works inversely to a bad market. And it's one of the ways to protect yourself from having to cash out stocks that are at the bottom. But in order to accomplish these things, you have to plan for them. Now is a great time to sit down and figure out, okay, how committed can I be to a plan of financial independence, retire early? Now let's talk a little bit about the retire early part of FIRE movement. One of the things that I really kind of have an issue with is this idea of retirement. Most people love to work. They love to be productive. They love to do something with their time. There's really no such thing as retiring unless you're at a job that you really don't like or want to leave. You know, for those of us who love what we do, I'm sure I will continue to work. It's just that I won't feel forced to work at something that I don't want to do necessarily. That's the options that financial independence gives you. So really, I am very focused on the financial independence. The retire early part of it, because I know I'll never retire from writing books. I know I'll probably never retire from doing videos because it turns out, hey, I like doing them. So if you can do something that you love, there's no such thing as a retirement. So the idea of retire early to me just means leaving your 9-to-5 job. And that is a great goal. Everyone should have that goal. You want to be able to do what you want to do with the time that you have and spend it in a way where you feel like it's of value. So if you're one of those that feels like you want to get on board with the financial independence retire eventually crowd, then join up and click subscribe and follow along, because I'm just doing a video on the online classes that are going to be going up, my writing classes. I'll be doing more and more videos of ways you can earn extra money, extra side gigs. And those side gigs are what has to go into that retirement account. Just like Amon and Christina, I'm going to be doing videos on my personal financial independent journey. Mine will be very different from theirs. Yours will be different from mine. But everybody has great ideas. You can always learn something from everyone. Doesn't matter if it's in real estate, if it's investing, if it's a specific type of investing, dividend stocks versus mutual funds, whatever it is, you can learn something from everyone. So now is the time. You have time at home. Go ahead and get that financial literacy. Start educating yourself. How can you be financially independent? How can you give yourself all those options to decide what to do with your time, what not to do with your time? Choose those things you enjoy and really expand on them and produce even more income. Just like any movement, the FIRE movement is just a way that has encouraged people to take those initial steps to improve their own life.